Guten Tag and hello. Welcome back to the Märklin Outsider. This is episode 11, and in this episode I want to begin a two-part series on what I call getting started. Now I know you're looking at me going, it's episode 11. Shouldn't have getting started have been episode 1? Not really. After talking about the Märklin digital system over the past 6 or 7 episodes, a couple of people, actually 3, one from Australia, one from Central America, and one from Canada, have all emailed me and said they love the videos and they had been considering Märklin, but after watching my videos, they really want to get into Märklin, but they don't know where to start because in all 3 cases, there isn't a Märklin shop anywhere near them. So I want to talk about how to start with Märklin, and in the follow-up video part 2, I will talk about where to buy. So let's talk about the Märklin trains. Now again, before I go any further, everything when I say Märklin is for AC 3-rail. However, everything available through the Märklin name is also available through the Trix name, including the digital C-Gleis, the C-Track as it's called. So if you want to run DC, you can run DC and DCC instead of AC 3-rail. The Trix C-Track is identical to the Märklin C-Track, except it doesn't have the 3rd rail down the middle, but it connects the same way. You still connect all your digital accessories the same way. The central station still works with it. The mobile station still works with it. It's all the same. It's just 2-rail, not 3-rail. All right, so back to what I want to talk about today, which is you've watched my video, whether you're one of these 3 people I've talked to, or you're one of my friends and family that have shown interest. Where do you start? Well, you start by getting a train. Now, before you get a train, you need to consider what you're interested in. Model trains are an expensive hobby. But then again, any hobby is an expensive hobby. You're going to put a lot of money into it. Model trains have a reputation of being very expensive because you can spend $1,000 in O-scale just on one locomotive, but you can also spend $70 on an HO scale locomotive. So, how to get started and not feel like you're wasting money? Well, Märklin has considered that as well. Märklin has 3 levels of their trains. There's the Märklin My World, and just forget it. Märklin My World is for 3 to 5-year-olds. They're hard plastic battery operated trains. They're not digital. They don't use C-Track, although the track they come on looks identical to C-Track and connects the same way, just no metal parts. It's all plastic. But at least a kid that grows up on Märklin My World, when they're ready to move to true Märklin trains, is already familiar with the tracks. The first level, beyond the kiddie level, so the second level overall, is called Märklin Startup. Now, Märklin Startup are trains or entire kits, which include train, track, and a digital controller, the Mobile Station 2, that come in a range of prices from as low as about $100 to as high as $1,000. And they are designed as entry-level kits, either for young kids 7, 8 years old. And those will be the lower price, the ones $100, $120, $150, $160. Because this is serious digital train, so it's not going to be that $50 Walmart train set. This is going to be a quality train. But for the $120 ones, you're going to get just a very simplistic locomotive with a couple of basic either passenger cars or freight cars, but made much more out of plastic than the metal that you're going to see on the higher end models. But it's a great place to start. That's why it's called startup. Or if you're new in the hobby, it's a nice thing to invest in. Now, you can get kits that are $250 to $550 that include a locomotive, some passenger cars, and track to create a nice oval and maybe a bypass, a parking area, as well as a digital controller, the Mobile Station 2. Yes, when you're talking $500, $600, it's no longer just disposable cash. It is a bit of an investment. You can look around. Now, not every startup kit, and I've been flashing a few up here, not every startup kit comes with the Mobile Station 2 or even track. You can buy just a startup train because maybe you already bought a startup kit and have the track and the controller. Or you already have a train that you saw somewhere and liked, and you just need the track and a controller. So Märklin also has the digital startup pack, which includes a nice oval of C-Track and a Mobile Station 2, but no train. That's also nice is if you look at the trains and you're not finding what you want. Well, you can buy a locomotive or a train set separately and then buy the digital startup pack. That's how I got into it. I bought an ICE3, a very good quality one, which retailed originally for $590. I got it for about $320 used, but it was my first train that I'm showing the video here. Christmas, actually December 27th of 2015, the birth of my true train hobby, because I'd gotten the train for my birthday, which was a week before Christmas, and I got the track as a Christmas gift that came on December 26th. And so it was December 27th that I actually got to set up the track and play with a train for the first time and really get into it. But anyhow, you can buy a higher quality or starter set that doesn't have the track and buy the digital set, because that's what happened. My kids and wife bought me the Mobile Station 2 digital starter kit that had track and the Mobile Station. Anyhow, as I mentioned a bit ago, the best way to start is look at various eBay offers or various American and European online shops and just decide where you're into, because trains are going to come in 3 varieties. The locomotives, you're going to have diesel, you're going to have electric, or you're going to have steam, and then you're going to have eras, the time period. American and European trains are classified into 6 eras, with era 1 being the beginning of trains. You're talking the 1800s, and era 6 being the most modern stuff since about 2005 to the present day. Now, there are subtle differences between some magazines. The United Kingdom, because of a slightly different history in the way their rail system worked, depending on whether you look at Hornby or Railroader magazine or whatever one is bigger there, is anywhere between 9 to 11 eras. They distinguish it differently because of the pre-nationalization time, and then England nationalized all the trains and then sectorized them and then privatized them. So they're just more political events in the history of trains in England, and so they have 9. I think Hornby has 9, and National Railroader magazine or whatever over there has 11 eras. I don't follow UK trains as much as I follow UK train channels, but there it is. All right. So anyhow, I can list a few stores. Probably, if most of you speak English, I would suggest go to Renaud's website. Renaud's is they claim they might be the biggest model train store in America. But the thing is, their web page is fantastic for learning about trains, the history of model trains and train companies. They sell Märklin, and once you click on Märklin, they separate trains, locomotives from their different types, train sets, passenger cars, they separate it all. And then once you go looking into their list, they have it sorted really well. You can sort by country, you can sort by era, you can sort by price. So just look at trains and see if one interests you. Look at their startup menu. Now, there's also sites in Germany, but I'll put the links down, but I won't talk as much. My favorite shop, Modelbahn Shop Lippe, they don't sort their trains as well. They sort them by makes and types, but they don't give you the option of sorting by era and country. They just kind of list them all by item number. But anyhow, look and see what's out there. Just look at the Märklin models. You can even go to the Märklin website, and they have a catalog of what they've released this year, but they also have common models that are still available. Look for Märklin locomotives on eBay, not necessarily to buy right away, but to see what you like. I always suggest pick an era, a time period. For example, I only do modern era, era 6. Trains you would see right now in Germany. I tend to favor electric over diesel, and as beautiful as steam locomotives are, I don't have an interest in steam locomotives, but pick what your interest is. That'll make it a little easier. And then see what they have available in the startup kits. But they do sell that digital kit, so you can pick whatever train you like and go from there. Now, they're more expensive starter kits. The $350 to $550 ones have high quality trains with a couple of passenger cars, and then they also sell Ergänzungsset, completion sets. So the locomotive, and you got 2 passenger cars, but then they'll sell a 3-car set that completes the train and makes it the prototype that you would see running in Germany. Or you can buy multiples of certain cars to build a longer train that is also prototypical of what you would see in Germany or the Netherlands or whatever country you're modeling. So pick an era, pick a train, and get the starter set and just have fun. It's that easy. Just pick what you can. Prices may scare you off. Start with an El Cheapo Märklin, or even go on eBay used and buy a locomotive or a train and then buy the digital startup set. You will always get value for money. Regardless of what you spend on a Märklin startup set, you will always get value for money. You will get more bang for your buck when you buy a complete set. Märklin does make cheaper. They don't have the interior lights, but every locomotive or train will have multiple light and sound functions, even in the startup levels. But the whole point of digital is to have all those functions. So Märklin now makes sure the trains have lots of functions in them, light and sound functions. So look for something that interests you. Keep the price low. Just remember, if you are going to buy used, you're going to want to clean it up, check it up, especially used track. Because if you don't like the prices you're seeing, somebody on eBay will sell it for cheaper. I also am a member of a couple of Facebook groups that specialize in both model train shops and model train hobbyists who sell their stuff through the Facebook pages. And then if you like what you're seeing, Märklin also sells expansion packs to their digital startup, and these expansion packs take the basic oval or the oval with a bypass or parking lane. They sell They're Märklin expansion packs C1 to C5, and each one offers you additional track, turnouts, even digital decoders for the turnouts to create a bigger, basic, on your table layout. If you're not sure how to build a layout, they build a basic one for you. Well, I should say not a layout, but a running system where you might have 2 lanes looped with a parking lane or a couple of parking lanes that you can run multiple trains on at the same time, because again, that's part of digital. So check the Märklin website, check Renaud's website just to investigate. Now, lastly, before I end this episode, I will say, if you're not necessarily thrilled with what you're seeing with Märklin, here is a list of companies that make products for Märklin. Now, if you elect to go Trix, these companies specialize in DC trains as well, but they do make some of their more popular models for Märklin. But they are DC companies that make some AC 3-rail. And if you're going to do DC, remember, don't look up Märklin, look up Trix. And you pick a train you like and run it. If you like it, you can always get more. And you can spend money as you have it. There will always be less expensive and more expensive trains and locomotives and passenger cars or freight cars. Just look at the prices, look at the descriptions, pick what you like. So you can do Märklin if you're going to go 3-rail, or you can go Trix if you're going to keep it 2-rail. 2-rail has a wider variety of companies and trains, plus you can add in American digital trains if you like American, and still run them on your Märklin digital system, as long as the train is DCC. You're British, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, you got 00 trains, you already know that 00 track is HO track. Yes, the sleepers are spaced incorrectly. Yes, the Märklin or Trix style of track does not allow you perfectionists to set the spacers to a more appropriate 00 gauge distance. However, if you are not a purist in that regard, and you want digital done easy, just do Trix, and you can have 00 scale trains on the Trix track with the Märklin digital system, the mobile station, the central station, and you won't believe the difference between what you can do versus what you have with your Gauge Master controllers or your Hornby controllers for your basic HO scale. So yep, you can get your Hornby trains and run them. You still have the same issues, but you'll have to do a lot less wiring. But you'll still have the same issues you always have, isolating tracks because of the way DC works. See my other videos about that. All right. In part 2, since I've told you to look for a train, don't run away. Part 2 will come up in another episode here real quick. I'm going to tell you where to buy your trains. And especially for the people who contacted me, the gentleman from Australia, the gentleman from Central Canada, and the gentleman from Central America, this will be important for you to hear. Anyhow, until later, I will say auf Wiedersehen and tschüss, happy trains.